Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to the final episode of the Bad Questions, Worse Answers podcast. Each week, I, Charlie, along with my friends Brett.
Hello.
And Connor.
Hello.
Present a bad question to the others. Then, as a group, we attempt to explore these bad questions and find the best, although generally the worst, answers. Do we have anything to get to, boys, or can we jump right into it?
Yeah, I just want to clarify. Colby did contact me again this week and
I blocked
said,
his number, so maybe you should try that.
I'll try it. It's really I don't even want to get into how he finds my shit, but yeah, I just want to clarify. He did try and verbally attack me. I had to break it to him straight. Hey, man. We kicked you out of the group. You can't make up these excuses about your family, like being haywire. There's family issues. No, it's fuck you, Colby. Fuck Colby. There's just no going around it, guys.
You know what his problem is? You know what
What?
Colby's problem is? He's fame seeking.
It's
He
disgusting. In the
he just wants
comments,
his star on the boulevard, you know?
yeah, Steve DeLive's talking in the comments. He's like, Colby's doing this shit to me. It is disgusting stuff. And then Colby's like, what are you talking about, Steve?
Yeah.
It's
It's disgusting
it's
what he's doing to our
wildly
audience.
inappropriate.
Yeah. We're trying to build a brand here, and he's trying to claw his way up.
Yeah, it's
Honestly, from the beginning, this was built on the three of us.
yeah, it gets me
And we-
hot.
You know, we kind of
It's
extended.
the triangle that can't collapse on itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, we pushed through.
Yeah.
We pushed through.
Now that we got that out of the way.
I think that segues nicely into my first question about T-shirts.
Perfectly.
So this is something I've been on for a while. In fact, I've probably forced you guys into a conversation about this, but now I can really force you into a conversation about this. The
Here we
T-shirt
go.
is called a T-shirt because it's shaped like a T, or at least I assume it is. But to me, someone should have capitalized on that and made like K shirts and J shirts and M shirts and G shirts and all that kind of shit. Or like, I don't know, a 6 shirt. What are some other like letters or symbols or anything on a keyboard really that you could turn into a shirt and like actually have a decent reasoning behind the branding for it? Because some letters admittedly don't work very well for it.
I think a V shirt would be pretty hot.
Oh, I love it.
Like, if I was walking around with a V shirt, just freaking rocking my body, just super self-confident, just feeling myself.
That's hot.
like,
Does it like zip up in
What's
the
this
front?
V? Yeah, what does this V shirt look like for you?
It just looks like a V. Like, it
So
just,
I-
like, goes all the way down, like, it's almost like pointing to your shorts. So it's like, okay, we got the business up here, but we're really pointing to what's, like,
The vertex is like a belly button kind of
yeah.
convergence.
Oh, I got a little bit of a crop top even. That's kind of hot. I'm into that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's, I don't know, that's what I thought of first, just because, like, it seems like the most, like, logical, like, t-shirt form. Like, you could put it on as, like, a t-shirt. I don't know.
you know, building off the V, which, you know, I've heard some people call it the vertical V, the Y. The capital Y is like a shirt I think that could really work. You know what? I think it already exists. It's called the romper.
Yeah, I was about
The
to say,
romper.
like,
You could
I
even
mean-
take that and turn it into suspenders.
that's a good point. Like, well, I guess, like, a
But-
Y shirt, like, the shoulders would have to, like, it would have to be covering a lot more of your shoulders and, like, a little bit of, like, the top of your arms, but I
I'm
feel like
telling you,
that's
though,
I feel
I
like
think
that's
the
too similar
romper
to a t-shirt,
encaps-
though.
No, but the romper encapsulates this kind of this V-shaped upper body with like the stem of the Y being what covers your legs. It's like it's a onesie outfit rather than.
But what shape is that in?
I'd say it's a Y, because it's like what do you mean? It's connected up until like about like the midriff, and then it cuts into like a split
Oh, okay.
V.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm with it. Okay.
I see
get
what-
it. I got it now. Yeah.
I mean, it exists. It's not.
You
called
could
the
make
Y
the
shirt,
argument, though,
but-
that could also be an H. Because, like, the legs and like it
No,
goes
but
up, it
it's like it
connects in
has
the
a s-
middle, and then it like splits back apart, like making like an H.
That's true. But yeah, that's true. I'd also say though that like most onesies have like even like rompers, like even though they don't typically look like an H, I mean obviously you're gonna have two leg holes. So I don't know. I think an H is also an apt description.
I think Y
I'm
would
gonna-
maybe be like a dress kind of, but again, that's not a shirt.
It's tough. I think maybe we're getting a little too bogged down in the exact geometry of it. I think we have to realize that whoever the market is for this product is really stupid. You know, they're not going to read too deeply into this.
So you're looking for an intuitive letter.
Yeah.
Where
As
you're
long
like,
as
"Oh,
it
that's
reads
a-"
a little bit, it's fine. And honestly, if it's screwed up, that just seems to me like people will talk about it more, you know?
I think
Like, if it-
I think like maybe like a trendy thing that like you would see on the runway is like a K shirt or a
I
Some of
could
those
see
really
that where only like
aggressive
one
letters.
arm
Or like a
is like
G.
really exposed.
yeah, you like one side of your body is just completely covered and then the other half is like it like
Yeah.
kind of covers it.
That's
One
like
thing
a
I
K.
thought about would be like a P shirt, where you got one side and that arm is fully enclosed, like that's coming back in. You know, you can't
Like
even
straight
use that
jacket.
arm. Yeah, but then the other arm, like she's out there, she's free.
Like- Well, is it free or is it like teacupping? Like, does it have to actually like embody the?
I would picture it as like tank top on that side, like it's
Really?
it's a shirt all the way up the torso, and then it's tank topped on one side, and then a sleeve that reconnects to the torso of the shirt on the other side.
This feels like a lowercase r to me almost, where you sort of have like the very sturdy stem, but then kind of like the free arm can kind of roam wherever, and you're like, oh,
Maybe that's
probably
kind
like
of the
an
summer
R.
version. Yeah. An uppercase R could be sort of. I guess no. An uppercase R, you'd have both. You'd have both legs covered. I was gonna say you could. Get
Do
the
you
same-
think that there are
No,
shirts
no,
out
I
there
would say
that are
I would say the uppercase R, since you have like the straight stem on the right side, would be, or the left side, however you want to look at it, would be like the arm and leg move in unison while the rest are kind of free. So you're almost like sack racing.
Oh,
yourself?
that's nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
Do you think that there's already T-shirts out there shaped like letters? I'll look that up.
I'm gonna go with almost 0%. It's really a blue ocean you can move into with this market.
To me, it just seems like such an obvious thing to get into, and if it caught on, you know, like you could make some sick money fast.
Yeah, I feel like
just as a fad.
Yeah, I feel like something like that would be really easy to buy into because, like you play it off, like you don't even have to say it's like inspired by the letter. It's like, oh, I just came out with this like really cool idea, like what blah blah blah, but really, we're just
You
basing
just like
it
make
off
it
of
fit a letter.
yeah, we're just basing off the letter J.
Here's
I feel-
to me
Go
this
ahead,
is sort of the white whale of the symbol letter shirt market, the ampersand. Can we try and dig through that and figure out how the ampersand might work?
What's an ampersand?
It's
The
the and
and sign?
sign.
Oh, it's the and sign.
Yeah,
I didn't know what that was called. I'm dumb.
I just
I
like
don't
it's a
see
fun
it.
word.
I don't see it. I'm gonna.
I
put that
thought
out
maybe
there.
if like the top is a hood, you know, like that top
Okay.
little bubble is a hood.
It definitely has to be the head, the roundness of like the
Yeah.
top.
It looks like that could be a really nice hood, and then maybe it's sort of like a.
Your stomach is just
free-flowing
open
scarf
to the
thing.
world.
It looks like that's how it ends up.
That'd
maybe
be
it is sort of
awesome.
a swimming suit, a women's swimming suit.
Yeah, but like a hood for a swimming suit though. I feel like you would like suffocate.
I guarantee a fashion designer's done that.
That's true. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Now
This is
going-
where though it really becomes that you design a shirt and then make it fit the symbol thing though. Like at this point you're totally just like forcing something to fit a little bit with the ampersand.
I
Yeah,
feel like
I think it's abstract at that point.
I feel like if you strike a good ground between like being abstract and just the right amount of being revealing, you've hit a good trend. like there's got to be like some like mid drift, like hopping out, or just like some like circle that like reveals like some part of the skin.
It does seem like a good, like, this whole brand seems like a good excuse to like show skin, you know? Like if that's
Yeah.
a thing that's sort of in right now, and from what I can tell, it seems to be, and I'm pretty not with anything.
Oh, after Corona, after this quarantine thing ends, I'm cutting all my shirts to crop tops. I'm going balls to the wall.
Why are you waiting, my dog?
Oh, can we take a brief aside for your shaved head?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I shaved my head.
Once you go tank top, shaved head.
Oh, that'd be
You're a whole new
awesome.
man.
That'd be so cool.
Whole rebrand.
I'm
And
just
then you
looking
turn
at
that-
it.
You're just looking.
Yeah.
Then you turn that tank top into a p-shirt, and you're off to the races.
Hell yeah. Oh man, that'd be awesome.
I
a
definitely
piece.
envision the letter shirts being more of a high fashion sort of fad. I don't see it catching on more of the typical consumer. 'Cause it seems
Oh,
like it's
I very
avant-garde.
much agree.
I
Yeah.
see this as like something that like Versace or Gucci
Yeah,
would come out with, and it's like $600 or $1,000.
Yeah, I
It'd be
think
like,
it's
here,
a
we made
quick
like a
money
tube of
thing
fabric.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
like-
isn't like your career for 50 years, but you get like if you stretch this out to 3, you've probably made enough to not do anything else for a
Hey,
while.
maybe we hit the market with this first. We make a big splash in the fashion industry. We make the connections we need to make, and we just play it super safe. We sell out, make even more money, and then like 5 years, people are like, "Oh, the bad question, the BQWA podcast, they're washed out. They don't know how to do these clothes stuff." Bam! Right when they're saying that, we drop out with another lettered shirt, and people go ape shit.
That's what I think the ampersand is. Like, I think you open with a P-shirt or the V-shirt, you know, something kind of reasonable that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't
And then
show our.
I think you bleed those out pretty quick, like one every couple months, and then you sort of go dead. People are like, they're done, and then by then you figured out the ampersand.
Yeah, we
And
don't.
you fucking drop that.
We have our hand. We have our hand of cards. We don't show them the full thing. We just give them little by little.
I think you put like all your R&D is going to figuring out the ampersand, because when you drop that, like, that makes headlines. When you can
Yeah.
wear an ampersand, that's impressive.
And by that time, maybe the fad had sort of bled down into where it's like the common man is picking it up, and then it kind of, the mystique and the exclusiveness of it fades away, and it's like, all right, here's the time to sort of exit the trend. Like, stay
No, I'm
ahead of
saying
the
that's
curve.
why we sell out. People call us washed up. We come back with something epic.
And I'm saying it's the ampersand.
Yeah.
I'm going to die on that hill. The ampersand is that's like, you leave on that. You drop
I think
it,
if you're
and
going
then
for like the
you
biggest
sell.
statement, though, it's the dollar sign. I mean, what's
I didn't
what's
even
more
think
a-
of that. That's a good one.
I feel
What's
like
more of a
that can come in
statement?
the middle of it. Like, that's at your peak. You drop the dollar sign,
Yeah.
like everybody's on you at that point.
No,
It's
it's
sort
like
of like
it's
a Banksy sort of statement, like in the middle of it. Like, this was the plan all along to get you caught up in the
Yeah.
yeah, because you
hoopla
can
of
see
all.
it as like this commentary, this satire on fashion and consumerism, but also like people who are obsessed with like Versace and Gucci or whatever these high fashion brands are. They'll buy it because like, ooh, I got a lot of dollars. I see this dollar sign. I'm gonna wear it.
Dollars, man. That's all I had to say. But yeah, I feel like you enter with something modest, because like any letter shirt that is new is going to be a whole like a
Yeah, it's gonna
mind-blowing
blow out the
experience,
wall.
you
Yeah.
know? So you drop with something kind of modest that people can get on board with, and then that first, like the end of the first act, that's when you drop that dollar sign shirt.
Yeah, I agree.
That's your first.
Maybe one
cap,
last-
and then the
What was
ampersand
that
is
called?
your closer.
I was gonna say like maybe like
That's your mic drop.
Here we have.
one last
Oh, go ahead,
comment
Brett.
would be I think
Oh,
you,
I was gonna.
you have the T-shirt. I think you have to have a letter for at least the reveal
Go
of
ahead.
the first installment. It has to rhyme. So you're looking at your E's, your P's, your D's, your G's. I think the Z would be a really good, like, sort of charismatic, like, first entrant, but that's just my thought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would kill.
Another thing I was just thinking is like the
That-
eye shirt. That's just a tank top. Like
That's
you just
sorta around the
you just
dollars.
sell a
That's
tank
like right
top
bef-
and call it an eye shirt.
Yeah,
And
that's what
when
I.
it's sort.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
That's
the
at your peak.
predecessor.
You know that's
or
when you know you're doing
precursor
good.
to the
when
dollar
people are
sign. It's sort of
paying
like, hey, we got you
$60
to
for a
buy
tank top.
a tank top.
Yeah, like you just spent money on this. And then people are like, oh man, they're peaking, they're dropping the eye shirt, and then you throw the dollar in. Boom. Boy,
Here's
we
our
got the whole
fashion.
release thing figured out. It's a good thing we got this to ourselves.
Our company is named BQWA. We start off the fashion industry with lettered shirts, blow them out of the water, sell out a little bit,
I mean,
we
you got a
come
lot to work
back.
with. You got like 26
when we just
letters.
repeat the cycle.
Well, 25.
We got it. Yeah. Okay, what's the first shirt you do?
I like
What's
the Z.
first
I
one?
like
think you're right.
I
it
like
has
the
to rhyme.
cross-sectional
so you're like
diagonal
V, B,
strip possibility.
D, C.
I think that's very
There's a
out
lot
there.
of options. What happens with the bottom part of the Z? The top
I'm
part
picturing
feels
like a cutoff
maybe
tank top
a
almost,
cutoff
but somehow
sleeve
you
to me.
connect
But
like
what's the
one of the
bottom side?
shoulder
Or the bottom flat?
shoulder
honestly.
blades to the opposite hip. It does the Macarena.
Okay.
I'm going with the V. I think the V isn't too risky, but it's not too safe. It's like it's just enough.
I kind of agree. It strikes a really nice balance in there. And it's got the reveal factor too. And it will make sense. Like the V will sell. When
That's
when
true. You
get into
gotta
some of
have
those
that
more complex
pragmatism
letters,
early
people
on.
have to be on board with the brand to kind of meet you halfway. But the V, like it'll look like a V.
Yeah, and the V is like, oh, dudes and girls can wear this? Hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, bro. I know what you mean.
Monochromatic.
What do we do for colors? Do we do a lot of colors for it, or is it kind of a limited selection?
No, we only do one color.
No logos. I think it's one of those things where
Does
the
everything say
shape of it is really the
BQWA on it?
distinguishing factor.
I
That's
think
true. You
no,
don't need
I
a
think we
logo,
have
yeah.
to have on fine print BQWA on like the back or something just
Yeah,
so
you
like
have to have the
people know it's like, oh, you didn't like
There's,
you know the brand.
That's
if you remember,
true. It's got to be like in a
Nathan Fielder's
nondescript
brand
but
Summit
clearly
Ice, they
intentional
released
place.
a no logo
Yeah.
It's like
hoodie
a tough line.
where the logo actually appears on the inside underneath the sweatshirt hood. And their whole motto is wear your pride on the inside. I think that we could sort of embody that type of discreetness and I mean, hey, you got to take what you can get.
Yeah, let's steal that.
Any of your
For the people who are listening
Any
to
of
this
your
podcast,
thoughts
you
that
cannot
actually
steal our
are derived
ideas.
from listening to
We
this is
will
our
sue you.
proprietary
concept.
property now. We own you. In this hour,
Yeah, that's our intellectual property. Even though it is your intellectual property, as the source
that's
of
just a
inspiration,
typical
we get
licensing
at least a
fee
15%
of
cut.
being a producing.
That's non-negotiable down.
yeah.
But we'll take more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just standard stuff. We have the documentation for it if anyone needs that. Happy
And if you
creativity.
screw us, good fucking luck.
He's afraid to
just see what-
think
see
now.
what happened to
He just
Colby.
doesn't do it.
You will get
cold
Colby.
Same
He-
treatment.
He's stuck with all the thoughts he had before he
Yeah.
started this.
Colby,
Like,
yeah,
can
he
only
can't
just
even
recycle
let
through 'em.
himself think.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, you don't have to be that rude. Do we want to move
My
on
sister's
to
a fucking
is
idiot.
it Connor's question next?
Sure. My question was,
Now
what's
this,
the
I
most
think
useless thing on
you
Earth?
had the terminology with thing, so this is as open-ended as can be.
Yeah,
Dust.
it can be anything. Get it?
Dust. Dust is the most useless thing. What does it do? I've never wanted
Are there
dust.
like natural processes though
I
that
feel like
sort of
anything
like
else
brings
there's
dust
probably a
back
time when I
into
could want it.
like a functional form?
Here's mine.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
The one that I was
All
thinking
right,
of
let me
was
pose
plastic.
a question. This is what I struggled with this question is,
Get plastic
do
the
you
fuck out of
negate
here.
any use,
Like-
or do you have like what's the most negative use thing? Like what has like the, I don't know.
My reasoning behind plastic was literally anything can replace plastic, and it's so like cheap and just like plastic itself, like I don't like, to me it's just useless. Like I don't know.
I'm gonna completely disagree. I think plastic, while certainly having its negative properties, is like maybe one of the greatest innovations in human history. Just in terms of how cheap it is to make and how like maneuverable it is as a material. Like you can do so many things with it and form it into literally any shape you want. It's almost magic. And like to if you just got rid of it and made everything that's currently made out of plastic out of other materials, like you would just burn through so much like metal or whatever you try and replace it with.
All right, that concludes
think,
this podcast
I think plastic's
episode.
an awful answer.
Connor is
The worst answer.
Oh, jeez.
Two things can be true at once. It can also, yes, plastic can have a lot of negative externalities that are undebatable, I would say even. But yeah, I do think that there are a lot of benefits that came about it. It's just the cost of it might not be worth it in the long run. At least like moving forward now.
I guess like with the problem with, because yeah, I see your point. I think the problem with my thing, because I just realized, I was like, what would computers be made out of? Like glass.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how do we make
Just-
this
just-
podcast without plastic? But also, if you think
Can't
about
just
it,
throw that out there.
I think there are great arguments to be made, like Brett said, like indisputable arguments that plastic is not maybe like a good material, but I think it is vital to the world we live in now. Just in terms of like mass production of products and things like that, you I don't know how you could not have plastic. Like I wish it was something better for the environment, but I don't think you can really get rid of it.
what I was saying, like, I just thought that like if there's something plastic, there's always like an alternative to plastic. You know what I mean? At least like in my thought process, like when you like plastic bags, there's like paper bags and shit. Like, and even like with our bowl discussion, there's plastic bowls, but there's also like ceramic and wooden and like almost
Maybe, yeah, if you
anything
look at, like,
has
plastic,
a replacement.
Yeah, if you look at it as just a raw material, then I definitely see where you're coming from. Like as just like if you took like a pile of, you know, like 10 different raw materials and plastic was one of them, chances are the others all have like valuable characteristics that plastic doesn't. But I think when you look at just like stuff, plastic is
And maybe
so,
here's a
like,
thought.
so important.
Maybe
to,
plastic
like,
has
so
helped
many different parts
advance
of the world
society.
and
To
how
we
how
live
do
in a
things.
society, right? But I was just saying, I think it's almost advanced us to a point where we
wouldn't have
now
this
look at the
podcast without
problem with
plastic.
and say, hey, we can actually start tackling this with newer solutions. So it's sort of like a paradox where it's like you're solving a problem, you're able to solve a problem because of the problem. Yeah, so it's like, why would you even introduce it? But I think like
By creating the problem.
the aphoristic like rising tide that has sort of like lifted all boats.
I
As in,
love
like,
that
plastic has
perspective.
lifted a lot of other aspects of life. Is something that we should be taken into account.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think Connor, you're right that in like 100 years you could probably look back and say, oh man, how stupid was plastic. Now we can make all this stuff out of metal really easily, and it's like way more stronger and durable, or glass is to a point where, you know, we don't have to be so careful with it and that kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think like at the moment plastic is great. I love the idea of it got us to this point, and now we can start to phase it out with better
I guess for my answer, I have a
construction
couple
techniques. I think
different
that's a great way to look at it.
or thoughts on it. I guess maybe the most contentious one right now. Sequels to movies, just in general, I don't think they serve much purpose to art in general, or like
I
the viewing
disagree.
experience. Like, grow up, like just like move on.
I disagree with
Like,
you.
life isn't infinite. Like, you don't need to keep making the same Star Wars movies.
As much as I love going and seeing a Star Wars movie,
I
Brett,
appreciate
I think
that.
you're
Olive
right that
branch.
overall the effect is negative. Like I'm willing to meet you there.
I completely disagree. Although as there are a ton of shitty sequels that shouldn't be made, but there are also just like gems of sequels, like The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, like that was a sequel, and it's considered like it was like considered like one of the best movies of that decade, and we got Heath Ledger's performance out of it, one of the best performances arguably of all time.
Notoriously snubbed for Best Picture, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I think the only award it got like was Academy Award for Best Actor in a Best Supporting Role and Sound Editing.
Yes, that's BS.
Yeah.
Can we maybe I can get fully on board with this, and maybe Connor, we can find a way to compromise here. If we find a way to take,
Yeah,
I think
I
maybe
think
if
I
you
can
go
get
in with a planned
when it's
trilogy,
premeditated in
I
the
have no
sense
problem
that
with the sequel.
a trilogy can almost be viewed as like one movie, right? But when you're adding like your second, your third Hangover movies, like what are we doing? Like
Or like a James Bond movie, you know, when you're like, when it's like, I can view that as a
Yeah,
separate
they're not
thing from a
connected,
sequel,
right?
To me, even though
it's
a lot of
well, it's
them are
almost
James
like
Bond.
vignettes. Like they're not.
I think they're tangential.
I mean, they
they're not
are, but
linear.
they are, but they aren't really. It's weird.
It's
I
this
guess like
weird-
within those like. Yeah.
it's this like vague difference between a movie where you're like progressing, you know, like you're coming back to the universe and progressing it further, and the movies where you're just like coming back to relive what happened in the last. You know, like that would be like the Hangover sequels where you're just like coming back because we made money.
Or like Dumb and Dumber, or I mean, like I get the point. Like there are just like terrible like sequels that just shouldn't have been made. But I think that's just also like when you get like the wrong people in a room, like where you create just like a sequel that just like shouldn't have happened. But also I think there are great sequels that aren't premeditated. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are some out there. But I mean, there's also some sequels that have been premeditated that like weren't that great, like The Matrix. I think like wasn't it like the third Matrix film was just like utter garbage.
I don't think it's as bad as people say, but it's not good.
Yeah, and
That's a
but
book.
like also like we get like this Lord of the Rings trilogy, and that is also considered just
But I think it's grounded in the.
well, yeah, but it's still like a film. Like just
Yeah,
because
I
it's
guess if you want to.
but just because it's a good book doesn't
like
mean it's going to be a good
Divergent
movie.
Series, yeah, I can give it that.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm sure there are many ways you could fuck up a Lord of the Rings movie. And like The Hobbit wasn't like
I'd argue.
The Hobbit wasn't nearly as like critically acclaimed. And that's based off of the same like Tolkien, based off the same dude.
I'm trying to figure out what are some like easy rules that we can hand to, you know, the Hollywood movie making industry and say you can't make these types of sequels anymore. Like how can we condense this down to some digestible points in a manifesto?
I guess maybe what's like a permissible
If one were
scenario which you
making a
could
manifesto.
make. I guess it'd be just like the flip side of the same coin.
I think to me an easy one off the bat is like if it's been more than 4 years since the first one, you can't make it. Like you just have to scrap that movie if it's been 4 years since the last one came out.
I don't know though, because like there are people with like great ideas out there who like yeah, it's been like a while since like a sequel, but sometimes those can be great in like the right minds, but also like the opposite end of the spectrum is like there are people with awful ideas that want to make sequels to movies that came out like a long time ago. So it's like I think it really just depends on like the person with the idea and whether it's like executed well or not.
Yeah,
I
but
do
that's
like
way
the
too,
time-
way too like good
yeah.
of an answer, Connor. You know, I'd like a more extreme take. To me, I feel like the cost of all the bad movies that are made after an extended period of time from the original like source material movie, I feel like the cost of all those bad movies is worth saying.
Yeah, and this
goodbye
is
to
like
them
where
and
I
maybe
guess
the
I have
occasional
sort
good
of
one
like
that's made a while
yeah,
after.
there's like the Dark Knight or whatever where you have like these really
would-
good
yeah.
sequels that do pan out, but I think those and like maybe there's some sequels that they come out like 20 years after the original and like they're fine, but on balance those are just like exceptions that prove I think the rule that most sequels are useless and that most that are produced 20 years after the fact are not that great.
Yeah. Like there's always going to be some good reboots and things like that, but I feel like I would just prefer a new idea in all of those circumstances.
I'm sorry, I just don't have an extreme take for this. I'm trying to be really sensible with this thing.
That's fine. I've got
It's-
another thing here I want to throw out there.
You are
too,
not
and
taking
that is
naps
throw pillows.
properly,
I think
mister.
throw pillows
Come on.
are just like always annoying. Like always I'm throwing them off the couch.
I think throw pillars are pretty useless. I don't think they're comfortable. They're like
All right, that's our podcast.
I was just
folks.
gonna say
We
like they're
have
pretty
this-
useless.
We
Like
gotta end on a good
they're
analysis.
just there for decoration.
Yeah, and like there's those
I would
They're
way
useless.
rather. I would take. I mean, like if I have to sleep on a throw pillow, I will, but it doesn't even like compare to like an actual pillow.
And so many throw pillows now are leaning so hard into the we're a shitty pillow thing that like they're uncomfortable. You know, they've got some like texture on them, or
yeah, they got
ugh.
Rick and Morty on it. Like, I don't want to be sleeping on Rick and
Yeah.
Morty as much as I love Rick and Morty, but
We've got one that's a snowman, and it's got a carrot for a nose, and the carrot is like a rock. Like it's
That's
rock
annoying.
hard. So
That's
when you
annoying.
sit down on this thing, it's like a rock just
You know,
stabbing into
I'll
your
play
lower abdomen.
devil's advocate
It's awful.
for the throw
just
pillow.
what's the point?
I take a lot of naps, and I think
Think of the
for
children.
best nap policy, you have to sleep in places other than your bed, because it's like native to the nap, right? It's almost like the excitement of not being in the bed. So I use throw pillows a lot for a nice pillow. It's like being uncomfortable almost like makes the nap more of like a challenge. You're like, I'm gonna like reward myself for working hard to like fall asleep. Like, I'll sleep extra better. That's how I approach it.
Yeah, it's again to me though just a cost benefit thing, where like the benefit of having a decent throw pillow in those situations is not worth how pissed off I am at every other throw pillow 90% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Controversial opinion. Naps are pretty useless. I fucking
wasting
hate naps. I feel like I'm
wasting
wasting
the day
the
for
day.
Mr. Connor.
I don't feel like I feel like I'm
coming
being
from
less
the mouth of
productive
the
than I
horse that
already
sleeps
am.
until 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, but I'll stay up till like 4, so like I'm still like
Yeah,
I'm getting the
sort of
hours
when
there.
everyone
Yeah.
else is sleeping.
I'm getting a full day in.
But I do think part of being a human is the connectedness we have to
Yeah,
others,
but I
and
think
that
the day
also
is relative to
includes
me.
having the overlap of when you're operating. That, I guess. Oh
He's got
man!
like 6 hours there where he's accessible.
Imagine if we
Yeah.
all had different 6
You can't
hours to
fit into
navigate
that,
those,
Brett.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Imagine if we
Got a
all had these
problem.
different 6 hours. Like, what are we
You've
going to
got
be
from
doing?
2
Like, hey, I'm
2
open
p.m.
3
to
to
8
3 to
p.m.
9 in the morning. Like, gotta be sorry, Connor. I don't know. I can get behind that. Out of principle, naps are probably not a good thing to be partaking in frequently. How
Dude,
about
I'm just on
this?
that
I had
hustle.
another honorable mention. Wind. I know it has uses, but like,
Gotta grind.
yeah,
man.
on balance, yeah, like unless you're churning
Get the
churning
fuck
the
outta
turbine.
here. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like,
Wind
who
needs
does
to
it
get out.
benefit? You know, like, people always say,
Does- In the summer, man, when I'm like outside working or
but
something,
I think
and it's just like
the
hot
breeze,
here
the
because
breeze
it's just
in,
hot
in
here.
the humid
You want that
subcontinental
breeze.
climate
Anything.
does not compare to
That's a
like an
good
ocean
point.
breeze. I think you're just blowing like the furnace air into your face in the summer. So I don't know. Is it? I think it's more of like a Pavlonian like
But that's
reaction.
still
Your body's
cooler.
like, oh, like typically breezes make me feel cooler.
No, it's a thing. Your skin suit is a heat sink, and if the air is going over the heat sink more,
All
then
right,
it's
fair
then it's
enough.
pulling away that
Mr.
heat.
Science.
That's science. The skin suit is a heat sink. You need the wind to pull that.
I was also
heat.
curious about like what's like the
off
most useless like
the-
place on Earth.
Skin.
I was thinking like Greenland maybe, or like some uninhabitable place, but
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, like where we're from.
I guess I have bias for that.
I've
for
always
that take.
believed that North Dakota could just become an ocean overnight and no one would notice.
Yeah, or like Montana, like any of like those like
But Montana's like beautiful. You know, like people value Montana for that.
I've never been to there.
North Dakota, like nothing, as far as I know.
Oh, South Dakota, get the Badlands fuck out of here.
one of
There'd
the
be a lot of
places that
nukes
came to
in the
mind
ocean
is
if North
it's a
Dakota
place in
went away.
California called the Devil's Golf Course.
That's maybe something.
It was
to
this
think
like
about.
old like ancient lake that dried up, and over time it formed these like salt deposits that are just like these very jagged, like sharp, like stalagmites that stick up from the ground. And it's like called the Devil's Golf Course because like an old saying was, it's a place for only where like the devil could play golf, because like why would you have, like, it's just like this dangerous jagged rock sort of field, and like
Yeah, and like, why would you want the devil playing golf there? Like, get the fuck out of here, you know?
Here's a hot take. What about the Mariana Trench? Like, if you've got to go in like a fancy submarine that can like keep you pressurized and all that, that seems pretty useless to me. A space that takes
maybe,
like
but there's
millions
like
of
maybe
dollars to even be able to go.
scores
at
of
all to?
wildlife there that
Yeah.
could
That's
serve
useless.
purpose that haven't been discovered yet. Maybe if you're in like the pursuit of just like human knowledge, I don't know.
Well, like, imagine like the conversation or like the story that you get out of that. Someone's like, "Oh, you went to the what's the trench called, Charlie?
Mariana.
You went you went
James
to the Mariana
Cameron.
Trench. How was that?"
One of three.
Oh, it was pretty good.
Yeah, but like the only
And the
guy that's
co-
been there is James Cameron.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure
it
James
seems pretty
Cam-
unusable. It seems as far as unusable spaces go,
You're
that
gonna
one seems
frack.
pretty unusable. Like at least Greenland you can like walk on.
Yeah. And all James
You can-
Cameron
You can frack it. Worst comes to worst, you frack it.
and all James Cameron can say will probably say about it, he's like, "Oh, it was beautiful, man. It was great." He's like, "I don't want to fucking hear about this shit. I haven't seen it."
Yeah, Brett, you say it's all about like the, like research of the human condition and the world and like the benefit of learning about the past and everything. James Cameron is one of 3 guys that's been down there.
Yeah, it's like
it cannot
the
be
pay to
that
play of
important if James Cameron is
exploration.
like one of the first 3 guys
That's
you're
true.
sending there.
That's true.
You can purchase a trip to the
Yeah, you earned
I also, like,
enough
I'm-
COD points so you can go to the Mariana Trench.
yeah.
Maybe in like 15 years that'll be like a SpaceX promo. Like if you
But
you
I
do
am
well
kind of
enough
like
on some
confused,
video
and
game,
maybe
like,
maybe
half off your trip to the ISS.
Mariana
maybe I
Trench.
Oh, I'm sidetracked, but like the old
Prestige.
what was it? Was it like the Burger King promotion, right? Where you could get like points or whatever, and like you could trade that in for like rewards, and then there was like a conversion rate where you could actually buy points like at a fractional cost of like the dollar. So then, like the grand prize was like this Harrier jet, and it was like sort of ironic, like as a joke, but then this person actually recruited enough investors to like buy enough points to get it because like they could turn around and sell it. No, let me look this up. I'm not even joking. Like Burger King, or no, it was Pepsi. I think it was Pepsi. Pepsi Harrier jet.
That's
And then
awesome.
it became like this court battle where it's like, did they
That's
actually?
amazing.
Did the person actually get the jet in the end? I think they. No, yeah, it's Leonard v.
Do we
PepsiCo.
know the answer, or is
Um,
it still wrapped up
So
in
the
America's
jet was
great
shown
court
in a
system?
commercial as like a joke, but the person actually like I think recruited enough people and they like bought enough points to get it, and but if it's like
Yeah, aren't you
shtick,
legally,
right?
like,
It's
obligated to
it's
give that up?
SNL.
Because,
like it's like
I mean, you
parody
put a
law. I think
commercial
it
out
almost,
there.
like, fall under that.
and promised it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was
Like,
was
it's-
gonna jump on with you, Connor, with like the false advertising.
Yeah, it's
thing.
they said
But then,
no
like, there is a
reasonable
point where it
person could have
becomes
believed that the
parody.
company intended to convey a jet
Boy, that's fun to think about from a judicial
worth
angle.
roughly $23 million. But I don't know. That was a sidebar.
That's pretty epic that happened, though. And I love that. As much as I think the judicial system,
And I guess, yeah.
I think it's pretty amazing you can do that. Like you could go to court over something like that. Is fun.
Well, yeah, I would go to court over that because it's like, I don't know, in my head, it's...
You could have gotten
it's
a
like-
Harrier jet.
Well, yeah, you're like in the commercial, like you assume that Pepsi is given that up already, they fronted that. They already have it for the person who wins it. And then like someone actually does win it, and then they're like, sorry. Like, that's too bad.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point then?
Yeah. It's tough. Like, maybe I guess the guy should have like checked up on it, you know, been like given him a call and said, hey, is that Harrier jet for real?
It was
before you go and
$700,000.
spend however much you spent to get enough to get the $23 million hit.
Yeah,
That's a good
so I
point,
think I mean, yeah, if you're talking about like you're flipping that like, I mean, what, like 30
That's
times
what he
its
spent?
value.
Or they spent.
Also, like I assume you got to keep the money,
Yeah.
maybe.
That's pretty solid ROI.
Maybe
I'm not
obviously had to
complaining
spend
about that.
court like fees, but it's a pretty good way to like get your name in like the history books. Like that's like you're committed to the bit. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right,
right.
Brett,
Well,
you
yeah.
wanna-
I mean, if you're 700,000 deep, you got to just keep going at that point.
Yeah, you've passed the point of return.
I mean, that's sunk cost fallacy, sure, but like, come on, it's a Harrier jet. You're after.
We're really
All right,
hitting
okay,
the
my
freaking
question
financial
was,
jargon on this episode. I love it.
What should be mandatory knowledge that like isn't like counting is mandatory knowledge, right? But like what should be known by everyone, but that isn't required already? Oh man, you couldn't have said it better.
I
Yeah,
want
bro,
there to
like-
be a formal class on walking etiquette, like what side of the stairs you go up and down, and like, you know, if you open a door, like which door do you
Let's
open?
get on the same
who walks
page,
through
man.
that way. Like, this stuff just needs to be written down because apparently some people can't figure.
You know what
I get so irritated by that shit too.
It's the worst. And I mean, maybe something like internet safety or coding or like some basic.
Yo, man, I want a
accounting
class
would be
on
useful.
personal finance because my teachers didn't tell me shit about that.
Yeah, that's probably like a good answer, but the walking etiquette one to me.
No,
just
yeah,
should
that's
be
a
thing.
great answer. I was just making fun of all the people
Well, in
who are
like
like,
a-
man,
in
what
like-
about like
in-
fucking money school, bro?
in theory that should be
Like,
like
where's
what,
that at?
generally like a parental sort of obligation to pass that on, right? Because assuming you're a parent and like you have to pay taxes, you tell your kids sort of
Yeah.
how to navigate that. But yeah, the walking, you know,
Yeah, you kind of
can I
gotta
make
like,
an
pass on the
addendum, Charlie,
knowledge.
or like add on to it? The use of bicycles on sidewalks. Like,
Please do.
just because you're on a vehicle that makes you like travel faster does not give you an exclusive right to like of passage. Like, I'm sorry, if people are walking slow ahead of you, you bike slow. Like, where do you think you can just move faster?
Yeah. That irritates the shit out of me. I'll be walking to class and there'll be a biker like in front or behind me that's just like taking their like trying to get ahead, but it's all crowded
why do you
up
have
and they're just
to-
taking so much
Like,
space.
if someone's
and
walking
it's
up
so
quickly
annoying.
behind you, and you're like, you know, like I'm just gonna move away
It
like a
pisses
little
me
bit,
off.
like give him some space to operate. But a bike comes, it just clears crowds, and it has to because like they move quicker than everyone, like more dangerous. Yeah. No.
And they're big
gotta have a-
too. It's not like that small of a
Like
footprint
margin of
compared to a
error.
person.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because width-wise, you need to give them like at least a person width on either side. So then they're like 3 people wide. That shit adds up, man.
Just gotta make a bike lane for everything.
Yeah, and I think also just give them like a quick formal thing on what side of the road you walk on, run on, and bike on. Because I
No.
always see people doing it wrong, and it's fucking annoying because I'm easily annoyed, and it's
Yeah.
also just like a little worrying, you know, that like they got their like headphones on and are walking the wrong way, and I'm like, dude, you could get hit by a car and like it would just be your fault because you're an idiot.
No, there's so many times where I'll be walking and like on the right side of the sidewalk and someone will be just like be coming right at me in my direction and they'll like walk towards me, and then they're like, there's this limbo of like, oh, where are we gonna step? We're not gonna talk about it, but like it was like, oh, am I going this way or are you going that way? Like, it's so fucking annoying.
And maybe,
There needs
Connor,
to be
I'm just
something
imagining this
established for
scenario,
that.
and I think a lot of like,
And
I
it
don't know,
happens
what's
all the
it do?
time.
when people are walking
yeah,
like
yeah.
three abreast at you, or like they're taking up a disproportionate amount of the sidewalk, and they don't move to accommodate for you. And it's like, fall in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super annoying. And then here's another one. What do you do when you're 3 people wide and the sidewalk is 2.5 people wide? First of all, that's bad design. But second of all, like what do you do? If you're that third guy, do you sort of slink a little bit behind, a little bit ahead, or do you just sort of walk
I'm
on
thinking
the
almost
like on the road
someone has
next
to
to everybody?
take the
That's
lead,
a tough one for
and
me
they
a
just
lot of the
they
time.
like now and then turn back and face the other two. It's like inclusive. It's true.
That's kind of what I tend to do. And I like that because then I don't kick people's shoes, and I do that a lot because, I don't know, I do that a lot. I think I have big feet. Anyway.
Sheesh.
What size shoe do you wear?
I feel like as like the older I get, the
13 and a
less
half,
that
maybe. I
Oh,
honestly
damn.
don't.
I like could recall
pretty
my
big
shoe
feet.
size. Is that the same with you
And then
guys?
I'm
Like it
also
sort
just
of fades.
uncoordinated.
Yeah, like you just have to look at what
Mhm.
you currently have.
Every time I
No.
buy jeans, I have to relearn that whole thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty into. I don't know. Like I'm like pretty big into, or I'm getting into sneakers. So I always just like when I'm like looking for shoes, like it's always like in the back of my head, like oh like 11 and a half, like 12. So I don't know.
That's pretty big, too. It's not a small foot by any means.
Yeah, I got the right measurements.
So there's a good hot take to end it
I would
on.
say what I was thinking of like mandatory. The only thing that
Not
really
by any
came to
means a
mind.
small
I actually
foot.
struggled with producing any good answers. Like just basic geography, like just being a steward of the world you live in.
That's
and
one that I
like,
came up with.
understanding others.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to understand someone from like the West Coast if you can't even point out like Washington on a map? Like, well, it's the first, yeah.
I go to school in California, and I tell people I'm from Nebraska, and many of them have no idea where it is. And it's just a weird thing for me to think about, like having no idea what's in the middle of the country and just being fine with that, you know? Like I think of that, and I could just go North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and then like I know that that's there, but it's weird to imagine a brain that doesn't have that knowledge there.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm trying to think of a time where I just like don't know where something is. Like I have a pretty good idea or a pretty good handle on where things are in the world. Like I feel like I'm not going to like blank on where a place is.
It's weird to think about an absence of knowledge because like obviously you have them, but it's weird to think about not knowing something that you know. Like that's just sort of innate knowledge. It's weird to think about not knowing that. But I don't know, I feel like that would bother me. I feel like if I didn't know where Massachusetts was pretty well and like a rough shape, I
would have to like look that up on Google right away.
Yeah, it would be one of those things where like I'm like, shit, why can't I remember that? Immediately go to Google.
Yeah, look it up.
But I guess a lot of people are just fine not knowing that.
My take is, I think just like basic rudimentary, like food, like eating food etiquette, just like politeness. I can't stand it when people chew with their mouth open, like I don't even. I guess like the main gripe that I thought of was just like people chewing with their mouth open, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
Just
thought
like-
you were going to go to cooking, and I was going to say yes because I can't cook. And
Yeah, I
another
think
That's a
thing
good.
your
churches
parents-
have
Oh, that's a
talked
yeah.
about
That's a
the
good one
question
too.
where,
Just
like,
like
what
knowing
should
how
be
to like
mandatory
cook the
that's, like,
basics.
useful, and
That's a
then
good
also,
one
like,
too.
you can kind of be like spiteful with it, where it's like, I can't believe others don't know this. Like how could they?
I don't know. I guess like chewing with your mouth open, it just irritates me so much, and I hate. It grosses me out so much, like with, like, like teeth and like the mouth, like if it's like not clean or like
Does the sound of chewing bother? She's still just annoyed if you can like hear someone chewing. So like if I'm gonna eat an apple, like I gotta go to a different
self-fulfilling
room
prophecy
because
though,
she'll
where
just
it's like
be
she
annoyed
kinda,
at
like,
the sound
searches
of
it
the
out
chewing.
to like be annoyed by it.
I think it is a little bit, yeah. I think, and it's such an like to me, it's like that is such an annoying thing to be annoyed by that like I have to go to a different room to do a basic human function. I mean, I guess we go to a bathroom, but anyway.
I think
somehow
like
this
unless you're
seems
being
different.
disgusting about it, like I don't have a problem. It's just like
Yeah.
chewing. It's whatever.
So you're just the visual of it more than anything.
Yeah, I like it just grosses me out. Like I remember seeing someone like I I don't know.
If
I
it-
don't want to get
yeah.
into it.
Can
Like,
we
if it's
find a take
accidental,
on
you let it
burping?
slip
Where do we come
sometimes.
down on that?
I'm fine with burping, and like unless like yeah, unless you're being purposely disgusting about it, or you are being disgusting about it, and you have no, you just like don't mind it, or or you just haven't thought about it, then I have a problem with it. I know Colby, fuck Colby, but I know he hates burping. Whenever I used to like burp in the apartment, he'd be like, "Bro, stop burping."
I'm kind of I hate to say this.
If
like,
you're
it-
around others,
it
I don't think you should
really
ever
gets me to my core, but I
purposely
kind of agree
burp.
with Colby.
Really?
Yeah, I really can't stand it. I feel like it's the kind of thing that like it's funny in sixth grade, but like we're 20 years old now, so like let's just call that off, you know.
You don't get
I
any
feel like
that's
brownie
true.
points for being
it's
able
no
to do
longer
it.
impressive. Yeah, I feel like we just
Do you guys? How
Yeah,
do you guys
there's-
stand
there's
on like
new things
bless
that are
yous
cool
after
now.
sneezing? Do you expect it
I
from?
can't think of any.
You
of them,
appreciate it, okay?
I
but I never
appreciate
do
it.
it. Oh,
Why? I'm curious.
I always try and say bless you after someone sneezes too.
I'm bad at recognizing the difference between a cough and a
Oh.
sneeze, which is an odd weakness, but I'm very poor at picking up on the subtleties of it.
All right.
I don't know. I've always been just like told to like say bless you after someone sneezes.
I think you
So
know
I
what?
guess I don't know. It's just like been ingrained to like always do that, I guess.
I think I one time said bless you to someone who'd like coughed or like it wasn't a sneeze, and I just sort of said it because I thought it was like that, and they got not like angry, but like you could tell they weren't very pleased about it.
Yeah. That's
and that,
weird.
That just sort of ended the whole thing for me. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
That's weird that someone would get upset or like you feel some type of way about someone saying, "Oh, bless you," after someone
Yeah,
didn't sneeze.
I don't know what the religious context of that might be, but maybe there's something to that.
I don't even associate any religious context with it. I just associate it with like being polite, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I, but now that's ruined it for me. And I'm always late with it too. Like I cannot for the life of me squeeze one of those things. in
Maybe
at the
you
right
catch
time.
one every now and
It's
then.
always just sliding into third, like just after the ball.
When someone has like a
Yeah.
fit and
You know,
you're like,
you
oh, I
go to
can, like,
video
I
review
can
for
think
it, but
about
it's
and
clearly late.
jump in on
That kind of
time
thing.
before the fit ends.
But then I always end up in like the middle of it. You know, I like come in at sneeze
I don't like the
number 2 of 3,
expectations
and then
that
it's like,
kind
do I
of
do
fall
another
around it.
or do I do it?
Where
I don't know.
if like
It's
let's
just too
say
risky for
Connor,
me.
you appreciate it and like I get that
Mhm,
and
too
like
risky.
I think that's cool, but if you like sneeze, I'm not like built in a way where I automatically I'm like Charlie, like I just don't like think about it, so I feel bad if I like let you down then. Or like someone who might expect it, I guess.
No, like I it's such like a I don't know. I guess it's like such like a minor thing to me, where it's like if
Yeah.
someone says it's like,
Okay,
oh, thank
yeah,
you.
I think that's
but
how
if
I
someone
approach it,
doesn't
too.
say it,
It's
it's like
I'll say
I just
thank
like
you
go on about
without,
my day.
like, you're not gonna
Like I don't really think
ignore
about
someone who
it.
does it, but yeah, like it's not.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I haven't really thought about that before. That's interesting.
Can I throw out a second answer to a question from the very beginning, and that is acne to the most useless thing. I have a giant zit right now, and I've just been really annoyed looking at myself for the last 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 seconds, and I can no longer think of a reason why acne should be there.
I've been getting getting some really
it's the
annoying
stress of
backney,
quarantine.
and I don't really get backney, and I don't know why I'm getting it, but it's really annoying.
I've had it forever. I've got a serious acne problem.
The
I
boat
think it's
left the
probably like a
station
medical
on
thing at this
a transient issue. It's it's here to
Anyway.
stay for Charlie.
The boat.
All
I
right,
think, yeah, it was like
are
a
we
good
are we all
contentiousness.
good,
I think
content
we
with
got
our
to-
questions?
We got
I think
better
we did
as
well.
people. How about that? We grew together.
We
I
grew
agree.
together. We grew
Hello.
together. Yeah.
And yeah, thank you guys for
I'm
listening
Brett, this is the
to the
final
Bad Questions
episode,
Worst Answers
so
podcast. I'm Connor.
Yeah,
I'm Charlie. This is indeed.
This is the final episode. Yeah,
if
Brett,
you were
go
feeling
ahead.
like we're just kind of hitting our stride here, you were
it was
wrong.
Michael Jordan in
The stride is
1992.
over.
We're just
We've finished
Gonna
the race.
go-
It's done.
make a movie or something. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
This
nice
is Ray
hockey,
Bork.
Deep cut.
This is Ray Bork going. He gets his Stanley Cup. He's done. We're out.
Yep. All right. Well.
Woo!